Today we're going to look at how to write equations for lines if we have a graph. Yesterday we looked at how to write equations for lines if we're given information, and we looked at type 1, type 2, and type 3 problems. Today we're going to learn how to write an equation for a line if we're actually given that line on a graph. So let's check out how to do that. First, you should have in your possession a handout that is two-sided. There are 4 questions on the front and back that says writing linear equations, and we're going to go ahead and investigate that. So I want to zoom in on number 1 here. So we'll go ahead and look at that. Number 1 has some information here on this particular graph, and it is very useful to us in that it tells us some information about both a slope and a y-intercept. Please remember the variables m and b are going to be used in our general form of our equation for a line, which is y equals mx plus b. So I'll go ahead and write that down as well. All of that stuff is going to be very valuable to us, and so I'm going to write it down so I don't forget it. Okay, please remember that I said yesterday slope is, well, we know how to find slope, we've done that, but yesterday I said the y-intercept is where a line crosses the y-axis. Well, if we look on this particular graph, this line crosses the y-axis, and it happens to cross at this particular point. That point happens to be a y value of 4. When we're finding the y-intercept, we're only interested in finding where it crosses and what the y value is for that particular point. So our y value is 4, which means that our b will be 4. And since it was a positive 4 for the y value, then b will be a positive 4. Easy enough. Now we need to find a slope. We found slope of a line if we're given a graph. The easiest way to do that is to use rise over run. I'll go ahead and write rise over run for us here. Rise over run. That's just to remind myself. I'm not going to do it every time, but we will do it for this first one. And we'll go ahead and investigate and try to find 2 specific points to find slope, because you have to have 2 points to find slope. So we'll go ahead and look at that point that we identify, which is the y-intercept. Might as well use it. Don't do too much work here. And then also, we can find some other points. Here's one at 2, 1. There's also a point at 4, 2. And there would be other points on this line, but these are the only 3 that we can find right now. They are distinct points that we could actually name the values of. Sure, there's an infinite number of other points on this line. However, those are the 3 that we can see. Now we'll go ahead and do our rise over run. I'm just going to pick 2 points here. I'm going to use this one, and I will also use this one to do my rise over run. So here we go. The rise, I'm going down, so it'll be negative. Negative 1, 2, 3, negative 3. There's my rise. I'll go ahead and fill that in. Over my run, it's going to be positive because I'm going to the right. 1, 2. So run is 2. My slope now, rise over run, negative 3 over 2. Easy enough. Some people want to turn this into a mixed number. Don't do it. It's easier to see your slope as an improper fraction, because then you can go, hey, here's my rise, here's my run. Make it easy on yourself. Don't do too much. Now we will plug and play. Y is equal to, that doesn't change. My slope, m, what was it? Oh, it was negative 3 over 2. I'm going to use that. Negative 3 over 2 will be my m. We're just substituting values. X doesn't change. Leave it x. My b, it will either be positive or negative depending upon the b up in what we discovered is our y-intercept. It's a positive 4, so this will be plus 4. So for this particular equation of this line, it would be y equals negative 3/2 x plus 4. Easy as that. All right, let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is very similar to number 1. in that, in that it gives us an equation with a slope of a line. This slope, we can tell it's going to be negative because as we look at it from left to right, this line goes downhill. Let's first remember that we need two parts of a line, or two things to have a line, I should say. Slope and y-intercept. Currently we have neither, but we can find them very quickly. For this one, let's go ahead and find our y-intercept. My y-intercept, where does this line cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses at 0. It's at the origin. So the y value at the origin is 0. And now we'll go ahead and pick two distinct points to find then the slope. I'm going to use that point that was my y-intercept. Don't do too much work. And then we're going to find some other points. Now this one looks like it's kind of hard to find some points. I'll just identify them for you. One's way up top here, and one is way down at the bottom here. So the slope is pretty spread out. Pick two of those points. I don't care which two. Does not matter. How about that one and that one? Let's go all the way with this whole thing, from the top down to the bottom. All right. To go from the far left point, we're going to have to go down. So it's going to be negative. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Minus 10. Okay, that's a big number. That's all right. Rise is negative 10. Over run. Let's do our run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We went to the right, so it would be a positive 6. Plus 6. Simplify if you can. Slope looks really ugly if it's not simplified. So let's go ahead and simplify. That would be negative 5 over 3. That looks better. Is it improper? Yeah. Does it really matter? No. Just simplify it as far as you can. Leave it improper. Don't turn it into a mixed number. Here we go. Plug and play. We have a slope. We have a y-intercept. Y equals negative 5/3. That was my m. X plus b. My b is 0 plus 0. Now, if you remember yesterday, we saw an example where we were able to take an equation and modify it for our own purposes so that we got rid of that plus 0. Or, well, we actually added a plus 0, but we saw an equation that kind of looked like this. And this would be one of those situations. It would be negative 5/3 x. The plus 0 doesn't affect the value, so you don't actually have to have it on there. I would say, for my purposes, for you practicing this, do the first one. But if you can extend that and go to the second one down there at the bottom of just y equals negative 5/3 x, that's awesome. All right. What you're going to do today is you're going to continue practicing with creating an equation if you're given a line. So to do that, you need to remember that the two things you need to find are slope and y-intercept. Remember that your y-intercept is the point at which that line crosses the y-axis. It's the y value at that point. So if I can go ahead and show you number 3 very quickly. Number 3 would look like this. The y-intercept, if you can find it, shouldn't be that hard. It's where it crosses the y-axis, right there. You determine the value of it. Should be pretty easy. There's a number sitting right by it. Then you need to find a slope. To find a slope, you need to find some distinct points on that line that you could actually give x and y coordinates of. So I'll go ahead and identify some of them for you. Doesn't matter which ones you pick, so long as you pick 2 points and find a slope. You know how to do that. You will find the slope and the y-intercept, and then it's just plug and play. So you need to find your m, which is your slope, your b, which is your y-intercept, and put it into that general formula, y equals m times x, or mx, plus b. for this problem, our y-intercept is 2. It's right there. I circled it earlier, but I'll circle it again. And then we'll use 2 points to do rise over run. I'm going to use these points just to show that we don't have to use the y-intercept as one of them. And we'll go ahead and go from one point to the other. So let's go ahead and we'll go up 1, 2, 3. Hey, up, that's positive. And to the right, 1. Hey, that's also positive, plus 1. Rise is 3. Run is 1. 3 over 1. 3 over 1 looks a whole lot prettier if you put it as just 3. Plug and play. Y equals M. Hey, that was 3. X plus B. B was 2. Positive 2. There we go. That's all you're doing. Now, you might have some questions like on number 5. It's a horizontal line. Use your knowledge on number 5 of dealing with horizontal lines to go ahead and find for you that slope, and you can find the y-intercept for that horizontal line on your own there as well. So be aware of that. Don't freak yourself out just because it's horizontal. Use that acronym VUXHOY, VUX, HOY, and it will help you out. If you have any questions, please let the sub know. They can get a hold of me, and I can try to answer them as best I can. And I hope that you guys have a great day and do the best you can on this assignment.